My name is Alex Tremble, the author of the best-selling book, The GPS Guide to Success, and I'm also the one that's known as the Federal Career Coach because I help government employees reach their leadership aspirations. Today I want to talk to you about something that you may be doing, and if you are doing it, you are severely undercutting your opportunities to rise within the government. It's called the curse of knowledge. Let me tell you a story about one of my past clients, and you'll get the point. One of my last clients, named John, or we'll say John anyways, was a budget expert. He loved budgets, budget systems, budget analysis. I mean, he had been doing it for 10, 15 years within the federal government. So he knew this stuff like the back of his hand. John was having some challenges with his supervisor, Jane. That's what we'll call her today anyways. Jane was a very senior level leader who was responsible for overseeing budget and operations and policies and so on and so forth. But John and Jane were having some challenges in their relationship. There seemed to be a contention between the two. And so John asked, with Jane's permission, me to come and sit in on one of their meetings and just listen to how they interacted with one another. I agreed. The way this meeting started off was very interesting. Jane started off with saying, John, I need this particular information. I need X, Y, Z information. Can you get that for me? John responded back, oh, so what you mean is that you need for SF form 182, but yeah, I have to run a report that's going to do me the XYZ report, and that together is what you're looking for, correct? Now, please understand, I'm not a budget guy. Those things I mentioned, reports, and those probably don't exist, but you get the point. Some very complex stuff. Jane, looking pretty frustrated actually, responded back saying, I don't know what reports those are. All I know is I need XYZ information. Can you get that for me? John then went back to again correct and say, oh, so what you're actually asking for is you need me to run the XYZ analysis, but that is only going to provide me with so much information. So I got to go back and run this other report. And once I run the other report, I'll talk to my team and we'll discuss it and we'll bring you this other data. Is that what you're looking for? Because if I run this particular report, the ZXY report, that may provide you with more of your information. Is that what you're looking for? Is that what you mean? At this point, I could see the supervisor's face becoming very frustrated. And the conversation became very snappy at that point. The leader, Jane, did not understand what John was trying to say. And John continued to take what Jane was saying and transition it into some budget talk. So this happened about 3 more times during that meeting. And after the meeting, we walked down the hall and went back into John's office. And John started off with saying, oh my God, do you see what I'm talking about? For some reason, she's just so aggressive towards me. What did you think about the meeting? And me being me, I always try to focus on the self versus someone else because we can easily change, or we can change what we do, our behaviors, easier than we can hope someone else's behaviors are changed. So specifically working with him, I told him, you seem to be suffering from the curse of knowledge. He said, what is that? Well, the curse of knowledge is when you know something so well that you're so passionate about it, that you know all the particulars of it. You know the details, you know the acronyms, you know the small things that only people within your community would know. And you try to communicate that to someone who doesn't know that. Your supervisor is not a budget expert like you. Again, you've been working in this for 10 plus years. You know all these reports and the systems and so on and so forth. And you are trying to talk to someone who knows very, very little about it. And it's not their job to know everything about it. That's why they have you. And so instead of trying to communicate and correct your supervisor on what they're asking, what they're looking for, what might have worked better is that you focused on understanding what your supervisor needed. And once you understood that, you just said, understood, got it. you can now take that information back to your team, and you guys can use your technical terms to run whatever reports you need to do to use whatever system you need to use to get that information, pull it out of the reports, put it into a very simple report type form, and then give it back to your supervisor. You were overcomplicating the conversation. And I can see, and I know you could see, how frustrated your supervisor was becoming. And he thought about it for a second. And he realized that, yeah, he had been talking in very technical terms, and there was no reason for his supervisor to know that information. But for him, he was talking like that because, one, it was natural to him because he knew those terms and knew that world. But also, he thought he was showing his supervisor that he knew what he was talking about. By using those technical terms, he thought he was making himself look good because he was using those technical terms, when in reality, he was only actually frustrating his supervisor because she didn't understand him. So from that day forward, we worked on a transition plan to help him stop using those technical terms within the meetings he was having. And over a 2-month period, the relationship with his supervisor, 100% turnaround. They started to understand each other. The supervisor knew that he knew what he was getting, what he was doing, because when she asked for something, he brought it back exactly what she needed. She didn't need to know all those technical terms, right? So the point of this is, there's too many of us who are suffering from the curse of knowledge, who you've been doing what you do for years. And sometimes in your world, it's easy to talk in the terminology that people who do that for years use. But when you're talking to someone else, especially senior leaders, you have to remember it is not their job to be experts in any of those things. Their job is to be at a very high level, get information in, and then make decisions at a high level. We don't need them, and we don't want them to be digging into particulars. Their job is vision and making overarching decisions. So I've given you some what you need to do, but if you click below and subscribe for my email list, I will share how to do these things. There's also some other resources below that you can sign up for. Click the like button, click the subscribe button. There's a book below that if you reach out, I can provide you with some copies of the first few pages. But I want you to be successful. So what I hope you take from this right now is keep it simple. As always, have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.